Wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
Well, hello and welcome back. It is Tuesday. I don't know if I don't know what I did yesterday, but yesterday I did some housekeeping. I ordered up some new magnets. I ordered up some new lighting. Took care of restocking some of the stuff that had gone away and I've used up that I need to get more of. So that's why you order stuff. As far as Enterprise goes, I slept with it for the weekend. No, I didn't sleep with it. I slept on it. I didn't sleep on it. I slept on the idea. Well, you know what I mean. And I took off some of the weathering. After coming back for it, I looked at it, off and on through the weekend. Looked at it with fresh eyes Monday, and yeah, it was too weathered. So the great thing about using pastels is you take a little bit of rubbing alcohol on a nice rag, and you go, whoosh, and it all goes away. So it is less weathered now than it used to be. And I am going back and taking time to pick at things that I like to get fixed on it. That's partly why I was ordering magnets, because I want to find a way to set the bridge dome down with magnets to keep it in place. Good news is, this is Tuesday. Good news is I just got off the phone with Ralph. He has gotten the motherboards that I sent back. He has sussed out the problem. He has corrected it. He is sending me new today. So hopefully by the end of the week I will have that. If it's Tuesday and it goes out in today's mail, it's possible I could get it Thursday, which gets me right back in fighting shape. Still lots of little detaily stuff I can be doing during that time though. And I think today's issue is going to be using some of this. I'm going to be putting this on the, this is fiberglass patching material. But I'm going to be using it on the lit parts of the impulse engine. So I need to cut out a couple squares of this and attach it. And let's see, what else are we on? Going to be working on the shuttle bay a little bit. So we're going to try to draw in the accent lines on the clamshell doors. But let's get out to the ship. Enough of me yammering. Alrighty, here's the area that I'm talking about, and this is the material I want to use. I'm just going to cut out a simple little, I guess, 1 inch by ½ inch rectangle out of this sheet and stick it down onto there to give it some sort of nice little detail that'll help hide the LEDs, plus it will give a little bit of added texture when the lights are on. But you can see, hopefully, that I have wiped down, every time I turn this thing around I gotta duck, that I have wiped off a lot of the dust and the dirt. I left some notable stuff like here, and maybe one here where I had 2 or 3. I've got 1 left. Still kept the dirt underneath the intercoolers because that seemed to be a fairly prominent thing, and these streaks I kept. But I got a lot of it off of the saucer. Maybe this color is better, but you can see I took off a lot of these stripes, a lot of the weathering that went down the edges of the saucer. That was probably the most notable. This is probably the strongest one that's left. But wiped it down, got rid of some of the more overt streakage, but left enough to give it the lived-in look, but without being an abused look. Which brings me to the issue that most people seem to want to raise about this, and that is the engine noise, the sounds of the motors. I like the sounds of the motors. I think if it was completely quiet, it would be dead. I think the sound of the motors actually gives it life. I don't have that much of an objection to it, so the motors, they'll stay. And let's see. Plus, it's exactly how the actual prop is handled, with the inside cages that spin. I much prefer that. Just making it a spiritual brother to the actual filming model that way, rather than making it a cold and callous solid state affair. I'm one of those people that thinks that albums sound better than CDs, so I like a little bit of analog in my modeling. There you go. But yeah, you can see I knocked down some of these that were a lot stronger in their streakageness. Still kept some of this though, because this is fairly iconic. But sheets are coming. Now I have to decide how much I'm going to under here. There is some argument for putting in the lateral lines and then some of the concentric circles, but to do that reliably, I would have to put her back on her back, and I really don't want to do that. So if I can live without it, I'm going to live without it. Well, here's some good news. Mail call has gone today. Yeah, I always like mail call. And here it is, only Wednesday, 2 days later. Monday afternoon, I ordered magnets. I'm trying to keep it away from the camera because these magnets are strong and there's a lot of them. But K&J Magnetics. I cannot recommend these guys more highly. There you go. If you are in the mood or in shopping for magnets for your models, this is where I go. K&J Magnetics out of Pennsylvania, which is always, that's a good sign right there by itself, because only good things come out of Pennsylvania. And like I said, I ordered these on Monday afternoon. I think it was after 1 o'clock, so yeah, one afternoon, and they are here already, so that's fantastic. And now I can use these on the other project, which I want to use these to hold the bridge down, so yay. Well, friends, the brains are back. Yes, the replacement board came from Ralph this morning, replacement fob as well. I had been cautioned that the range of these will not be as long or as wide as the range on other kits, but I don't need to be 20 feet away. I can be 2 or 3 feet away and turn on the lights and be perfectly happy. So now that I've got the brains back in, there are a couple things that I need to do. I need to firmly attach that bridge module. I had thought about using magnets. It seemed to be more problem than it was going to be worth. So I'm going to put just a small bead of glue around there. If I need to pry it off, I can pry it off, but we'll hope I don't. But that's going to be the best way to attack that possible, let me turn the lights off, that possible light leak around here, which is not that bad really. But putting a quick bead around there with paint will help. And then the last thing to do will be to put the orange globes back over top. But let me gently nudge these things back into shape. I will turn this off circuit by circuit. Oh, let me check the impulse deck. Yes, the impulse deck is lit. So we turn off the impulse deck. We turn off the blue lights. We turn off the motors. Sorry, we turn off the nacelles. We turn off the motors. We turn off the running lights, and we turn off. Oh, first let's look back here. I haven't given the rear end of this much service or much coverage, but there you go. Greenish lights there, the window light there, the 3 spine lights, the shuttle bay lights, green in the center. I need to put another coat of green on there. That green is not very vibrant. I did do the green in here and the orange up on the neck. There are some lights, regular window lights, that are slightly a different color. But yeah, that's all looking great. So I need to touch that and we'll be done. Let me see. I'm going to turn on the impulse deck one more time. Look at that. Beautiful impulse deck. Turn that back off. And yeah, we are home again. We are beautiful, 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 beautiful. And I can swing that around and you can see the now you're seeing lens flare on the windows in the video. It doesn't really isn't really that big a deal in real life. So that is the old camera blows out LEDs more than they are. So very happy with that. Oh man, it is so nice to have this thing up and running. Now I got to square off the bridge module just a little bit. If you notice there, you can see it's kind of off center. that I can put in place, and I might want to redo that box right there and square it up a little bit better, but that's just placement. I got to glue it down into its actual location, but we are set. We are set. A few touchies, and I'll be ready to move this into the display room. Thank you, Ralph. You've saved my bacon yet again. Beauty. Okay, I've discovered why this is a light leak, and it's not really a light leak. It's not a traditional light leak. This is the scourge of the bridge module being made out of a clear material. If you are a long-time watcher, you will remember the problems I had with the Don Shoko Enterprise D that was also casting clear. The fact that these windows are lit is transferring light inside the plastic itself, and that's what's coming out down here. It is not a leak between the A and B deck. It is a leak of the material itself. So there's no way around that other than to paint a seam in here. So I'm going to have to attach this thing down more than semi-permanently, and then put in some either well, I'll put some sort of clear joint or glue in there, and then paint over it very carefully. But that is going to always be a problem because this piece is cast in clear. So that needs to be done. I need to put the orange modules on the front, and then we are ready to move this into the other room. Yay! Oh, sorry, I've got tiny details. I've got to put the outside extra little running lights. There's a running light here, and I need to actually drill in right here because there is a white light on the edge that I can make just by hitting the clear armature, because the white will the light will transfer down to the clear armature and give me a white light right here. So that's what I need to do. Back at work on the Enterprise nacelles. Now that I've got the lighting sussed out, it's time to put the orange domes on, and to get those on permanently, I decided to scrap the clamp thingies that were as part of the regular kit and redo them, because they were not letting the dome sit on, and I'm using the frosted dome as a test case because I don't want to scuff up the good orange domes. But I pulled out the old retainers here, and I'm making up a set of new ones just out of scratch plastic, because I think they weren't allowing the well, the domes are a fraction of a bit bigger than the Bussards that they sit on. Man, I wish I could find a way to get that to sit straight. Okay, you can see the dome is a little bit bigger, and my only other option was to sand down the flat spot on the dome so that the clamp would fit, and that was fine on this frosted thing, but it is not going to work on the it's going to scratch the hell out of the orange one. So what I want to do is make a new clamp that sits out a little bit so that I can kind of center the dome on it, and let it be a little bit bigger and let the clamp still work. So what I've done is I've taken a scrap bit there, and I'm going to round off the top and make the hole for the screw, and that will allow this to sit in just like that. So there we go. Let me shape up the edges, or the front end of these three clamps. See, there are the other two there. And that's just the spacer that brings them out a little bit further. Just bring them out a little bit further. Okay. Here is something I just straight up don't understand. This is a picture of the Enterprise in the Smithsonian, and they show this detail, the retaining clip that's holding the orange dome in place. They're showing the clip as being made of the same material and orange as well, where it is glued to the dome in the front and bolted into the nacelle at the back.
And for the life of me, that just does not make sense. It would seem logically that the clip would be part of the Bussard shroud and it would bolt into the dome and hold the dome in place. So frankly, that's how I'm going to do it, and it's going to be painted hull color. It just doesn't make sense to me to have that be part of the, the dome. I don't know. I mean, I may be breaking with canon here, but in this case, in this instance, I think that it makes more sense for this to be part of the hull and not part of the dome. Okay, I've got my new hold downs glued in. Slight angle on them. They really just have to hold the little pin screws in place. It's like pressure on it more than anything else. It's not a big mechanical fastening. It's more of the pressure of, well, you sort of like, your globe, your ceiling fan globe, where the light bulbs are behind it, and you got those little set screws. Those little set screws don't really go into the glass. They just kind of hold it in place, and that's all that this has to do, is just hold it square. There's no real weight upon it, so that's what I need to do. So now that I've got these guys in and I've got the holes drilled in them, I need to put the orange dome in place and mark out where go through these little holes here and mark where the screws actually enter the orange plastic, and mark those out and start going with the pin vise on them to make the tiny wee holes. Okay, I've got the three new clamps down and screwed in, and I think looking pretty sweet. I just need to touch them with a little bit of that hull color paint, and they'll be done. But I want to go plug this back in, see how well the inner cage turns against it. And there you go, it's back in place. All I need to do is pull the other one now, and pull the other head and replace those as well. But I gotta tell you, I like the way those fit even better than the originals. The originals, you can see how they have that kind of a recess in there, and the replacements are nice and flush. So yeah, a little bit of touch up of the paint on those and they'll be done. But let me pull the other nacelle cap, the Bussard collector. Okay, so the last thing I've done for the evening is I have just taken some good old-fashioned Elmer's glue, some wood glue, and I have put a small ring of it around the inside underneath that bridge and pushed it into place and kind of maneuvered it into a squareness and put it in final position. And that way it's tacked, it's not down there with epoxy, but if I need to pop it off, it's just Elmer's glue and I can easily deal with it. I do need to come around here with some very light, I don't know exactly what it is, I'll probably figure that out tomorrow, but I want to caulk that in, and it may be a matter of using caulk, I don't know. Ooh, some white tulip might do the thing. And then touch that with some paint to cover it up, but just some gap filling is all I need to do. But we are in the final rows on this project. It is the final day. Yay! The final day on the big enterprise build, and I have just the touchiest of smally touchy touches to touch before it is done. Last night I put a couple of coats of the tulip slick, a couple of passes in between the bridge module and the saucer, and I am pleased to announce that the light leak is gone. That's what it took. It took, well, let's get up there. That's what it took. It took some careful tuliping and some paint. Now I need to clean that up. That's job 3 for today. Job 1 for today involves these outboard. They're not really. Those are the navigation markers. These are outboard, and they're tiny, and I'm using googly eyes for it because it's the right size.
but it needs to go just on the outside of that marker. It's a light that never lit. It's dark green. There is one on the other side that is dark red. You can see I have opened up just by drilling through the fiberglass here into the armature. You can see just the faintest green light there, and there's a red one on the other side. But that's what I'm down to. That I need to paint the little clampy things that I made yesterday. Touch paint on that, and then I want to put a clear gloss. I want to paint the windows with a clear gloss, just some of them. I don't know whether all of them need it. And then it's a question of moving it down into the other room because she's a big girl and she's done. I have decided against drawing the grid on the bottom of the saucer just because of the way that it's going to be displayed. You'll hardly get under there to really squint at that. I might draw in a couple of the obvious lines, like I may put the straight line here and a couple of these guys in, but I'm not going to draw the rest of the rings in because I don't want to. No other really good reason other than that, but I don't want to, so I'm not gonna. I want to clean up, take the X-Acto, just scrape a little bit of paint off of some of these windows that aren't quite square, but I'm very happy with how this big girl has turned out. Oh, there's a couple of windows that I want to black out that I can put the black templates over just to show that not all of the windows are lit. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there was one more coat of green that I wanted to put on, not this window, but just the middle landing strip. That needs to be a little bit greener. But other than that, well, let me see. Let me debate that, because I'm thinking now, look at the impulse engines. Oops. Impulse engines. I think I want to paint that little dot in between them with a black to light block that. And I am debating whether to pull off those screens and paint those black as well. I kind of like them silver, but I can make up a new set in black and put them down. I think I'm going to try a black set, see how that looks. I like my blue lights. I like them. I like them a lot. There they go. But yeah, I'm down to just, as they say in farming, the short rows. A little bit of touches here and there, and she'll be ready for the display room. Dun dun dun. Okay, if you'll take a look at the center of the room, you'll notice a very big empty. It is time to move the Enterprise to its final spot. Although it will not be the final time I move the Enterprise, because I have to wait for the 4 amp power source that I have ordered online to come in. And that will be the final power source that I use for it, because I was noticing that the 1.5 amp transformers were warming up a little too much. So what I'm doing is getting ready for the stage to be set. You can see that dusty, or that clean spot in the center. Believe me, I tried cleaning off the outside of everything else, and that's as clean as I could get it. That's where the base is going to go, and that's where the Enterprise is going to sit. So I've got one last move in me for the week, and that is to get the Enterprise into this position. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. It's in. Engine noise and all. I like the engine noise. I think it brings it to life. She's there. She's blinking. She's beautiful. Strobing. Yes, the additional blue lights that I can turn off when I want. The engine lights. The window lights. The bridge lights. The under sensor light. This little detail that I put on last thing, because I was sure I was going to bust it off.
That guy. I was sure that was going to bust off at one point or another, so I've been very careful with it. But there you go. I am reaching back because I wanted to get the remote so that I can turn things off. The impulse engines off. The motor sound off, but I can leave the lights on if I want to do just that. Lights off. And the nav's off. And finally, the windows off. And I can't think of a better way to end a week than this. 12 weeks. 12 weeks with a break in the center, or break in the middle for gnats. And that is one happily done starship. There's a little bit maybe more impressive shot. I've got the other two starships lit up in front of them. You'll notice there's a Katinga there and a conspicuously empty corner there. I wonder what might go there. I think for right now I'm going to put some of my hand props in that corner, but you never know what might be refitting in that corner. But I'm chuffed. I can't get enough. It has been the culmination of a lifetime of dreaming and building to get to this point. There you go. Little bit of cleanup. I know you see it. I see it too. Little bit of cleanup right here where I had to double up on the paint on that joint so that the light block would stop. But I can do that at my own leisure. And well, there you go, friends. That is the end of the Enterprise project. 12 weeks in time, 11 weeks on work. Project of a lifetime. Like I said, it was going to be my my retirement project, and having done that, I got to come up with something else now. I got to dream bigger. Got to find a new goal, a new mountain to climb. It was a lot of fun. It was. I had been putting it off for good reason, but once I got into it, it was not. I think I psyched myself out of it at the beginning, which is something you can do on a model. An expensive model, yes. When you're working on a one-man pod or a refit or any of the models lately that have gone up in price, you can find yourself psyched out and say, well, you know, this is awfully pricey. I don't want to. I'm not sure I want to start on it until I get better. But you just got to start. You got to get into it. Like I said, I've had that thing in various parts of the house for 10, 15 years now. And getting it out and getting started on it was the toughest thing. And then once you get started, you just do the next thing and you do the next thing. And you find, next thing you know, you find yourself done. So it was fun. It was... I'm glad I didn't build it when I bought it. I'll tell you that much, because of all of the innovations that have happened since then, notably strip LED lighting and Ralph's boards, which I got to say thank you again to you, Ralph. You pulled a rabbit out of your hat and got that board back to me as quick as I've ever seen it.
was popped right in. Lesson number 1 here, kids. Make your boards accessible, and if you can, use quick connectors on them, because all I had to do was plug the new board in and I was off to the races. So I'm rambling here now because like I said, I've come to the end of an era, and I wanted to prolong it as long as possible. I didn't want it to be over with, but it is. So next week, who knows? Woe is me. I'll have to come up with something new to build next week. I've got an idea. Already. So tune in next time and you'll find out what it is. So until next week, when we'll start something new, be good to each other. Don't be afraid to do that thing that you've been putting off. And we'll see you here next time.